Hello, my friends, and welcome to another installment of Brain Flowers. Today, we are going to really get into the thick of it. I wasn't expecting this material for the second episode. However, when she comes a knocking, you gotta answer. So, let me just back up by explaining things a little bit. So, with the last episode and the first one that I had created a few days ago, the very next day, I received a message from someone that I love very much, very, very sweet woman. And it was a video of this woman who was clearly Christian, and she was explaining how the new age, like spiritualism movement, is wrong, and how women claiming their power through the divine feminine is wrong, and basically, like, it felt like she was demonizing new age and spirituality and the divine feminine all in like one big thing, right? So like I listened to it for a while. I got about halfway through before I just couldn't anymore. Because to me it felt heavy, and it felt like, like the pointing the finger, and just like, how dare you reclaim your power as a woman? You get your power from God, and you need to be thankful and be quiet and just do that, you know? And that, I know that's not how she meant it, but that's just how it felt, right? And there's so much on that subject. So like, obviously when it comes to religion, like I'm not a religious person. I've tried reading the Bible quite a few times, but honestly I couldn't get past a few pages in the beginning where it was talking about how like man was made from, or how woman was made from man, and like in the whole Garden of Eden thing. And it made me feel like I should be ashamed for being a woman. Like, what? Sorry, excuse me. No. So that being said, like, half of my family are very, very, very Christian, and they go to church numerous times a week, and they are some of the most amazing people I've ever met in my entire life. Like, literally. The most loving, the most giving, the most just grab your face and hold your cheeks and just, oh my God, I love you so much. You know what I mean? So it's not like, I'm not at all trying to put Christianity under just like one umbrella and describe all of the people in this way at all, because everybody's individuals. And the beautiful thing about this world is that you can believe in whatever you want to believe in. Even if it's not allowed, you still have your mind. You still have your feelings and your opinions, whether you voice them or not, and you're allowed to believe whatever makes you happy. And that is beautiful. And I would never go and push my beliefs on somebody else and be like, yours are wrong. Let me tell you some stuff. You know what I mean? Absolutely not. So anyways, I'm listening to this video, and like I said, I got like halfway through, right? Because I'm like, I'll listen. I might not agree with what she's saying, but I'll listen to what she's saying, And I just had to turn it off. Like, I could not. I couldn't do it. So I sent her a message back and was like, oh, thanks. That's one way of looking at things for sure. Thanks. And we had an exchange of messages throughout the day, and she allowed me to speak my beliefs, and I allowed her to speak her beliefs and her truths. And it was beautiful in a way that we could share because we knew each other for like my whole life. So there was respect there for sure. I think she's trying to save my soul or something, which is fine because she loves me, but there's that. So the thing about it is that the very next day, we had this incident where there was a den of baby rabbits in our backyard within our fence, and we have a husky, and so I'm very surprised that even happened in the first place. But it did. And I was in the kitchen making dinner, and my son runs up, both of my sons, and, they're like, Mom, there's a dead baby rabbit in the backyard. Oh my God, you need to come get it, la 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 la. And I'm like, oh my God, that sucks. I'm sad that my kids saw that, but I'm sad because it's a tiny little baby, So I go back there, and there was one crawled out of the nest, and he was gone. And so I'm looking at the den, and it's moving, and there's little baby bunnies that are trying to come out, So I'm like, oh my God, get Zeus in the house, please. Like, let's take care of this situation so they're okay. Obviously, they're hungry. Their mom probably hasn't come back because she sees Zeus back there, whatever. So there were 3 living baby bunnies, and then there were 2 other ones that were in there that had passed as well. So I take the 3 and I put them in the tree line and put flowers and leaves on top of them, and we say goodbye and stuff, and we take the other 3 into the house, and my husband is like Googling, what can baby bunnies drink? How do you protect them? What do you do? And so he's like, okay, you could either get heavy whipping cream or you can get kitten formula. I'm like, perfect. Simon's 5 minutes down the road, they'll have heavy whipping cream. It's a gas station supermarket, like, no big deal. Meijer, however, is 10 minutes further down the road from that, so 15 from our house, and it's like, well, could do that if necessary too. So I'm driving, and I'm thinking, like, man, what about bedding? Blah, blah, blah. I should just go to Meijer. So I pass Simon's, completely pass it. And there's something that was like, da 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 da, in my head, and was like, nope, just go to Simon's. Just go to Simon's, get heavy whipping cream. You'll figure out the rest tomorrow. No big deal. So I'm like, okay. I listen, And I pull into the driveway to someone's house. I turn around. I go back into Simon's. I go down the dairy aisle, and there's this woman standing there. Very sweet woman. And I scoot past her real quick, and I'm looking for what I need, and she's looking at milk, and she looks at me, and she's like, hands me a little pamphlet. And, she's like, can you take this? Is that okay? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely, no big deal. I already know what it is. You know what I mean? Like, this is not my first rodeo. That's no big deal. I will take it. Thank you very much. And so I look at the cover of it, and it says, can we talk to the dead? And I was like, well, that's a way to get someone's attention for sure. And we both laugh, and she's like, yeah, a lot of people are very confused about where they go after they die. And I'm like, oh, okay, all right, And so I take it and say thank you. We both smile, and I leave, and I go to Meijer and get what I need, come home. Pamphlet sitting in my car. I am, later on in the night, I'm getting dressed. I walk past my TV to go back upstairs, and I see out of the corner of my eye an ad for The Last Supper on my TV. And I'm like, all right, I get it. What do you want? And so that just, like, it that's how it happens all the time. Whether it's about like Christ consciousness or Jesus, like how it has been for the last couple of days, whether it's about a new book I'm supposed to read or something, I'm supposed to be learning about or whatever, like that is how it happens, right? I'm sure many, 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 many of you have had those experiences as well. And what do? You listen and you ask, right? So I went to bed that night holding the intention to meet the man. To meet the man. The man of all men. A man of all men. And I had never done that before. Like, I have met in the astrals, in my sacred space, many beings, many people, cut cords with people from past relationships, met with my sister who passed away on numerous occasions, especially right after she passed. Met with spirit guides, met with, whoever to talk, and whoever had information to relay to me, whatever, but I had never even really thought about meeting meeting with Jesus, right? Because although I am not religious, like I obviously believe in Jesus. He was a man. He lived here. He was here. And I believe that he possessed great gifts, and I believe that his coming here was freaking huge to make an impact, to make a difference. But it just never occurred to me to try to speak with him. So anyways, I'm laying down. I set the intention. I go to this very special place where it's like a big willow tree, and right at the base of the willow tree is like all this woven grass, and it's like a little nest for me, and I have like my books, and I have wine, and I have a river of water, and I have all these mushrooms and all these flowers and all, like, everything. I just have everything there, and it's absolutely wonderful, and I love it. So that's where I go to commune with whomever. And that night it happened to be Jesus, which sounds fucking crazy, but these are the experiences that I have. And I created this podcast not just to be able to have wonderful exchanges of energy and information with not just the listeners, but also people who come on this podcast with me. But also, I started this podcast to help clear and heal my throat chakra, to speak about these things, because I know from personal experience that a lot of people, especially nowadays, have been experiencing some of the most incredible things since childhood, and have yet to either say the things out loud or know like what type of context to put them in, because no one else is talking about it, right? So like, I've had those experiences where other people have brought things to the surface, and I'm like, oh my God, finally, yes, 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 and that's also happened to me on the other end. So we're just gonna keep this space as raw and unfiltered and beautiful as possible, and I'm just gonna say what the fuck I gotta say. So when I had went to my space, he was there. Didn't have to wait, didn't have to nothing. It was wild because like, you see pictures of him, and his face looked different to me. His nose was big, kind of like a pointed chin, and like this very deep auburn, light brown, wavy hair to like here, and hazel eyes. And he was very much like, no, we need to talk about this. You know? I was like, okay, all right, I'm all ears. What do you have to say? So after that experience that I had, I always write down things in my notepad on my phone, like always, every meditation where it's like I'm learning something or whatever, any experience like this. So I always have it to go back on because my memory is not the greatest. So without further ado, this is what I wrote after. Jesus said, Jesus' people are the original inhabitants of earth. And I was told it was the AB bloodline. There are a lot of original inhabitants of earth, like different lines that stem from like one thing. So for example, like Bigfoot, original inhabitant of earth, you know, gnomes, beings from the Telluric realm that hold that magical earth energy, like they are original inhabitants of earth. However, they stayed within the confines of their space where they grew in their own way, so their vibration matches that of earth, and they vibrate at such a high frequency that they're like not in this dimension, which is why we like get glimpses of them sometimes, but we don't see them full on, right? I'm talking about the original inhabitants of earth that became human beings as we know it, okay? So there are 3 other inhabitants of earth besides the original earth people. One of them being the leg of the Vegas, which the Vegas is also Vegan, Pleiadian, Andromedan, and Spica. His original people of the earth are draconian in a way, but not the negative draconians. The 3rd leg is from planets that have been destroyed by war and are no longer inhabitable, so they came here to earth to have a physical experience. The negative net that was put around the earth was brought here because of people like me, who came here through a stargate and created negative karma amongst his earth people. Therefore, we are stuck here playing out our dramas and our karmic patterns until the negative net is dissipated, is what I received. So the only way to allow that to happen is for us to come together in love and connection and vibrate at a higher frequency in order to make the net completely disappear. This negative net has been taken over by people of the RH negative bloodline that have close ties to this negative net because they are closest to the Earth's vibrational frequency, closest to the bloodline of Jesus Christ. They are AB negative. RH negative is like a crystalline frequency, and AB negative an AB is Earth's original inhabitants. Basically, he was saying it was our fault. A lot of beings who are star seeds, which is a hell of a lot of us that are here. Those of us who came here originally through the Stargate because we opened up the portal and let a negative entity or energy that acts like a parasite come here to draw on the energy from all of the different types of energetic beings that inhabit the earth. So that was the message that I received. And I feel like the reason why I received that message was because there is such a divide between traditional religion and New Age spiritualism. So I had no idea until I read that pamphlet the next day that lady gave me that Christians and Catholics in their religion, they believe that once you die, your spirit goes to God and that's it. It doesn't come back. It doesn't commune with people. Like, it's just there. It has one go and then that's it. So therefore, when they see spirituality, they're like, you guys are converting with demons, not ghosts of your past loved ones, not angelic beings, not anything like that. So the fear is that we are spreading this way of being and are eventually going to have it spread out so far and among so many people that it just wreaks havoc to where people are not going to, like, say, churches anymore to commune with God. They are sitting at home or in wherever, and they are communing with the energies that are around them, and the energies that are around them in their eyes are demonic, and they are acting like they are angels, or acting like they are your past loved ones, or acting like they are God, and they're not. So I can see how they could be freaked out by that and, like, scared and be like, don't do that. 100%. I understand that. But that's not what's happening. There is a little something called discernment, like, if you're speaking to something that you can only feel and you cannot see, obviously you use discernment, but you would have to feel into the energy of this being to see and understand if they are of the light. You know what I mean? Like, and what purpose would it hold for, in a reading, for example, when someone is coming to me and say their husband passed away and they're super upset and want to make sure he's okay and try to connect with him, blah, blah, blah. What purpose would it be for a demon to come in and be like, yeah, my name's John. Yeah, I love you. Like, I don't know. But that's fine. So there was that aspect of it that I just found out about and was like, oh, I did not know that that's what they believed. So I guess that makes sense that they're very much against spirituality. The other thing was about the divine feminine. Like, that really, really took me back. And I have a very deep passion towards, like, feminine power. And being held down, and just will not subjugate myself to a man or someone else in higher authority in order to, I don't know, I just, bleh. Nope. So what kind of all brought this together for me was, like, okay, so I read the book Mary Called Magdalene. I love that book. First of all, because it showed what it was like for women in the world when the Old Testament was the word, And I was like, oh my God, that is crazy. Just crazy. Like, women had no choices. You could be lucky if you could read or write. Just the whole thing of it. Feeling like a second-class citizen because I'm a female, and, like, I am literally the bringer of life. Are you serious? Whatever. So there was that. And then when Jesus came in from that perspective in the book, and I know that it is a nonfiction book. Or wait. It's not real. Whichever one that is. I always forget. I know it's like a not historically, well, no, in her defense, like, she does, the books that she makes are about historical figures, and a lot of the events that take place in the books are historical events. However, she draws on the characters and, like, creates the characters with how she sees them. So it's not accurate in that aspect. So I understand that. However, I love that book so much because it made me see Jesus as a man. and Mary as a woman. Because although he was this incredible multidimensional being of crystalline energy, he was also a human, you know? So there's that. And what I really loved about that book was that when he started doing things like eating dinner with prostitutes, cleaning the feet of lepers, claiming that he can heal people, just by saying that he can and putting his hands on their head, whatever. Like, you didn't do that. You know what I mean? Like, that was not a thing at all. And he did. And he came in saying, like, whoa, 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 whoa. What you guys are doing that's not okay. The word of God from the Old Testament, like, you got it wrong. Let me try to tell you what my God means, what our Father means. Live in love, walk in love. Love is literally, I just got chills all over my legs. Love is literally the highest vibrational currency you could possibly give or emulate or anything. Love. That's the bottom line, right? And the reason why he sat and ate with prostitutes, just as an example, is because he said they need guidance. They need love. They need direction more than anybody else. Why would I not sit with them? Why would I ignore them when they need me? Didn't sit there and condemn them. Not at all. So his way of thinking and being, definitely, it created waves. It got him killed. So, like, the Bible was created after he had passed. I am not saying that the Bible is wrong. I am not saying that it's not truth. I'm not saying anything like that whatsoever, because who am I? I am a 34-year-old woman. I wasn't there. And I believe that the Bible holds a lot of, like, codes that when you read it, you receive downloads of information that, like, really resonate with your heart and your soul, that are true. Absolutely. 100%. But the thing that I don't understand is that is a lot of things, actually, about that subject. But like, if there is no reincarnation and we only live once, what doesn't give any explanation as to why little children are born and die within a week, or why little babies are born into the world with cancer, or why some terrible things happen, like spirituality does, which is why it speaks to me, and it doesn't have to speak to everybody, and that's fine, because I'm not everybody. I am myself. But there's so much there. So, like, I want to talk about the tensions that I felt between traditional religion and new spiritual paths. It's tension that's been around since Jesus' time. back then, he was challenging the old beliefs. And today, new ways of seeing the divine are challenging old religious narratives. This isn't about us versus them, right? But about opening a space for deeper understanding and healing and connection. That's what I'm trying to get at. English sucks, to put it simply. So, with the whole divine feminine aspect, like, even in the Bible, Mary was demonized. It was either that she was possessed or that she was a whore or that she was both. But why was she considered a whore? Because she was possessed. Whether that be she was bombarded by grief and trauma and, all of these lower vibrational energies that she couldn't release, or she was literally possessed. We don't know. I don't know. But she was married. She had a child. She had undergone this possession, went through a lot of different rituals to rid herself of these said, air quotes, demons. But it all failed her. And the last resort that she had was to go out into the desert by herself. And when she did that, and she later stumbled upon Jesus, and he rid her of her demons or the entities that were around her, or rid her of these negative, traumatic emotions, these heavy things that she was feeling. I feel bad, like opening up her crown chakra and allowing the love from God to flow into her. She stayed with him because he was showing her, it's all love, girl. It is all love. You don't have to feel bad about any of the things that you've experienced or that you've done with having to leave your family or, whatever. And so because she was following him, she was considered a whore. Cleopatra. You heard the saying that the people who win the battles are the ones that write history. Fortunately, she lost. Very, very long, drawn-out battle, and she is a badass. But, like, the winner, calling her a whore. She had sex with 2 people in her entire life, 2 of which she was in love with, and both of them she had kids with. So, like, what? Just this whole misunderstanding of the divine feminine just has me like, ugh. You know what I mean? Like, yes, I am woman. Hear me roar. Period. We are now, as a collective, understanding, yes, our power as females. But it's not power in a negative way. Like, I'm powerful, I create all, I don't need God. Like, no. Being connected to the divine feminine is making me closer to God, to source. It's just a misunderstanding of communication, a misunderstanding of beliefs, a misunderstanding of the words that we're saying. So, like, from the Sumerians, the Egyptians, the Vedic traditions, the divine feminine was revered as a powerful, creative force, right? Goddesses like Isis, Inanna, Shakti, and others symbolized fertility, wisdom, healing, and cosmic balance. Women were often spiritual leaders, healers, priestesses. As patriarchal societies rose, particularly with the development of organized male-dominated religion and political structures, there was a gradual suppression of the divine feminine. This shift can be traced to the rise of the monotheistic religions, and in many traditions, the divine feminine was erased in favor of a singular male deity. For example, in early Judaism and later Christianity, God was and is portrayed predominantly as a male. Women's roles as healers, midwives, and holders of ancient wisdom became threatening to male-dominated hierarchies. This led to suspicion and fear of women's intuitive and spiritual knowledge. I have notes, sorry. Historical examples of this are like the witch hunts, 15th century all the way through to the 18th century. The fall narrative. This is why, like when in the beginning of the Bible, I just could not. It was so hard to go past this part because, like, I took it personally, I guess. I know I took it personally and I shouldn't have, I guess, but it's just crazy. Like, the Eve story is the origin of sin, deepening the shadow of the feminine energy. Right? Like, I need to apologize for being a woman? Excuse me? In some Christian interpretations, Eve's story from Genesis became a symbol of female weakness and temptation, linking women with sin and moral downfall, reinforcing negative stereotypes that persisted through the centuries. And the consequences of this: the divine feminine was cast as dangerous or sinful rather than sacred or life-giving. Women's spiritual authority was diminished and forbidden. Intuition, emotion, and the healing arts traditionally associated with women were all devalued. Like, with this new age, this spiritualistic movement, first of all, it's not new. And second, it is like a getting rid of the system. It's getting rid of this rigid structure that we're all forced to, if we're not indoctrinated into, then we're all forced to look at or like be fed pamphlets saying that like, you're wrong, and if you don't believe me, then you're going to hell. You know, like, what is this? And the crazy part about it is that, like, literally my whole life has felt that way, you know? In my eyes, like, religion is beautiful. Church is a place where people can go to feel safe and feel heard and feel loved and connect, not just with God, but with people in their community who feel the same way, who feel that connection, who feel that draw. And that's beautiful. That is beautiful. If there's an organized structure that can take what you believe to be true and speak about it in such a loving and giving way, you know, and you can go once a week, twice a week, and meet up with other people who believe the same things that you do, and it makes you feel good, it makes you feel empowered, by all means, do that. Do that. That's beautiful. With this awakening that is happening, it's a good thing. It's not people being taken away or drawn away from God. It's people being drawn away from religion, for the most part, is what I'm seeing, because they're seeing the structure of it. It just doesn't fit anymore. The This is not medieval times. This is not... This is a new era where we have understanding with energy, with love, with vibration and frequency. Like, that is incredible in itself. Like, we have understanding of vibration and frequency. What does that mean? You can take control over your own life. You can create beautiful, amazing things in your world by shifting your emotions and your thought and the emotions that back that thought. That's not taking away from God, that's communing with God. That is co-creating with source energy. You don't need a church for that. And I think that might be, one of the scary parts for them. Not them as in like them versus us, but like, I do think that's one of the scary parts. But it's also like, there's a million things running through my mind right now. It's also like, there's not that fear-based energy that comes along with spirituality, because you are responsible for your own thoughts and actions, you're responsible for your own beliefs, and you're responsible for what you create. This awakening is reclaiming of the spiritual gifts that have always been within us. They've always been there. Jesus had talked about it. Read Corinthians. We're not sinful for being sensitive to energy. The gifts of healing, of vision, and deep love. As we honor this truth, we step fully into the new time of Christ consciousness, where masculine and feminine unite in divine harmony with each other. Because that is what is going on. In my perspective, the divine masculine is God source energy, and the divine feminine is Gaia, that's Mother Earth. And we are becoming closer in connection with both of them. With the divine feminine coming into play and us saying as women we are reclaiming our power, like, yes, we are. Is it a negative way? No. But like, am I going to be damned because I'm a woman? Am I going to be a second-class citizen because I'm a woman, or not speak my truth, or feel bad because, apparently Eve ate an apple and got everyone kicked out of heaven, or what the hell ever? Like, no, absolutely not. Jesus was not afraid of the divine feminine. He walked with her. Mary Magdalene, Sophia. It would be really nice to just be able to have open conversations, have understandings. And again, like, you can believe everything that you would love to believe, and there is no judgments there. Just as I'm, like, I wish you to not cast judgment on me, because I work with energy, because I have tattoos of sacred geometry on my arms. That's probably why she gave me that pamphlet. Like, it's all good, man. Like, we're all waking up to our power in a way that is so beautiful, because we're not giving our power away to something outside of ourselves anymore. We're waking up to creation. We are connecting with earth. We are remembering our sacred lineages. That's huge. And that's happening like a lot, you know? We are connecting with God, with Great Spirit. We're having conversations in our mind's eye, in our hearts, with each other. That's beautiful. And that's new, and that's freeing. And that's what we need. That is what we need. So this episode, there was so much more that that could be said on this subject, and probably will be, but I think I said the main things of what I needed to say. And yeah, I very much appreciate you for being here, for listening. Always open to interpretations of the different things that I had said. Always open to hear any comments, questions, concerns, whatever. Out of that message that I received, whether it be that it was actually Jesus, or whether it be that it was my subconscious creating a thought form in my mind's eye about him, whatever it was, the takeaway from that was love. The only way that we are going to succeed as a human race is coming together and creating a higher vibration as a collective, which is coming together in love. And I'm pretty positive that every single religion out there, that's their main point. That's the drive home. That's the point there, folks. Coming together in love. So, thank you for listening. Until next time, thank you.